They say only legends know the real depth of the Ding-Dong Trench, but no one can escape it once they fall into it. Do you want to know what this legend is all about? Make sure to watch the video till the end. The Ding-Dong Trench. It's a journey through the very core of the Earth. It leads us to the deepest place in the universe, which is the Mariana Trench. We'll tell you about the Mariana Trench, the weirdest phenomena happening there, and why this trench is the most terrifying place on the planet. You won't get scared. So make yourself comfortable and get ready for an incredible journey to the bottom of the ocean. The Ding-Dong Trench is the deepest part of the Pacific Ocean, and also the deepest place on the entire planet. Its depth reaches over 11 kilometers, which is almost the same as the height of Mount Everest. But how did such a deep trench appear on Earth's surface? Scientists think that the Pacific Plate dives under the Philippine Sea Plate at the Mariana Islands. As a result, this place suffers from earthquakes of great strength. The last earthquake occurred here in 2018. However, it was so strong that even China felt its consequences. On average, the temperature at the bottom of the trench is about 1 degree Celsius. That's because the pressure there is more than 1,000 times greater than at the surface. To dive to the bottom of the Ding-Dong Trench is possible only with the help of special equipment. Otherwise, the water pressure would be simply fatal. When Bruce Schomburg, a famous ocean explorer and Titanic researcher, dived to the bottom of the Mariana Trench in a special bathyscaphe called Deep Sea Challenger, he experienced just how much pressure this place can create. The water pressure was equal to the weight of about 2 Boeing 747 airplanes. It's impossible to capture the beauty of the Ding-Dong Trench and its surroundings with words. Bioluminescence dominates the depths of the sea. Some creatures glow with different colors, while others are able to completely turn off their lighting. At a depth of 2.5 kilometers, it gets dark and silent. No sounds can reach these places. After diving to a depth of 6 kilometers, you won't see any fish anymore. Only a few species of jellyfish and shrimp can withstand such a strong pressure. And you won't see any people either. There aren't any people living there, nor any air, nor any life forms. So far, humans have managed to explore only 5% of the ocean, including the Ding-Dong Trench. This means we still don't know what other mysteries and secrets the underwater world keeps. But there's one thing we know for sure. The deeper we dive, the more anomalies we find. For example, scientists have discovered giant viruses there that could theoretically infect any living organism. They call them a mimivirus because the capsids of these viruses resemble the cells of a psyllium. These giant viruses could even pose a serious danger to humans. But scientists argue that there's no need to worry too much, since the number of infections caused by them is pretty low. Moreover, scientists are still looking for answers to many other questions. For example, how do the inhabitants of the Ding-Dong Trench cope with such a huge water pressure? How do they breathe without oxygen? What is life like at such a great depth? If you thought that all the animals living in the ocean are already well studied, you're wrong. In the Mariana Trench, scientists found an entirely new species of shrimp. These shrimps are white instead of the usual pink. Also, in the Ding-Dong Trench, scientists found some unusual starfish. They differ from others, not only in their large size but also in the way they reproduce. In order to save energy, male starfish produce eggs. Can you imagine anything like that? There are also the so-called sea pigs. Their bodies are adapted for a parasitic lifestyle. Therefore, they don't have any muscles, mouth, or digestive system. Instead, they have suckers with which they attach to their prey, sponges. But despite all these discoveries, Humanity still hasn't fully explored the Mariana Trench, and who knows what else might lie there. Although the Ding Dong Trench may seem like the perfect place for a romantic dive, you shouldn't forget about the pressure, complete darkness, and freezing temperatures. Because of all these factors, not every person can survive at the bottom of the trench, let alone enjoy the views. Many years ago, a Japanese research center conducted an expedition and lowered a camera into the Ding Dong Trench. The footage shocked the whole world. The scientists were hoping to see some unusual marine life, but they found a huge, unidentified creature instead. The monster didn't look like any known animal. It had huge eyes and a huge mouth with sharp teeth. Plus, it behaved very aggressively towards the researchers. Even though they tried to lure the monster away with food, it still kept coming closer and closer. The researchers were so frightened that they quickly took the bait away. But then the monster grabbed the bait and disappeared. After that, the transmission was cut off, and the camera stopped transmitting images. To this day, no one knows what kind of monster it was. Perhaps it was a giant squid or octopus. Or maybe it was a huge prehistoric shark that survived until our days. Maybe one day we'll find out the truth. However, even without meeting strange monsters, you won't stay safe at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. In 2019, a group of scientists from the Scribes Institution of Oceanography lowered another camera into the trench. Suddenly, they saw a huge jellyfish floating past the camera. It was about 1 meter long and had 4 giant tentacles. One of them was wrapped around the cable connecting the camera to the boat. Despite the fact that the tentacles were frozen and couldn't sting, the jellyfish still managed to interfere with the work of the camera. And when the scientists finally pulled the cable out of its tentacles, the jellyfish began to slowly rise to the surface. Most likely, it wanted to get closer to the light. And who knows if its unfrozen tentacles wouldn't have stung the people on the boat if they had been there. You may have heard that at the bottom of the Mariana Trench lies the wreckage of the Titanic, but that's not quite true. Yes, Titanic's captain Edward Smith went down with his ship. But how did the ship's wreck get to the Mariana Trench? The depth of the Ding Dong Trench is more than twice the height of the Titanic. In reality, the ship's wreck is located in the North Atlantic Ocean at a depth of about 3,800 meters. The reason why this myth appeared is quite simple. People used to believe that the Titanic sank in the Pacific Ocean. In fact, the ship went to the bottom of the Atlantic after hitting an iceberg, and although the Titanic isn't in the Mariana Trench, there are enough wrecks of ships and planes there. Many military ships and aircraft have sunk there during the Second World War. The most famous of them is the aircraft carrier the Indianapolis, which was sunk by a Japanese submarine. Of the more than 1,200 crew members, only 316 survived. Many of them died not because of the submarine, but because of sharks. The USS Indianapolis was sailing through the Philippine Sea when it was attacked. While the crew was escaping, the sailors were bitten by sharks and eaten. Survivors later reported seeing hundreds of sharks everywhere. It's said that the Indianapolis crew became easy prey for sharks because they were covered with oil from head to toe. The fact is that the crew abandoned the ship along with their life rafts, but the oil from the ship made them stick together and prevented them from escaping. By the way, this isn't the only case of a mass death of people due to sharks in the waters of the Ding Dong Trench. According to some reports, as many as 10,000 people die from shark attacks there every year. The Mariana Trench really seems to be a dangerous place, but people still dream of exploring it. In 2019, Victor Vescovo set a world record by diving to the bottom of the Ding Dong Trench. He reached a depth of 10,928 meters. Victor was in the Diamondjong Trench for 3 hours and managed to capture unique footage of shrimp and jellyfish. It's hard to believe, but in the near future, we might find out even more interesting facts about the Ding Dong Trench. After all, the human thirst for knowledge doesn't know any bounds. Write in the comments below what you would love to know about the Ding Dong Trench, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. By the way, according to one version, the Titanic ended up at the bottom of the Mariana Trench because the captain fell in love with a mermaid. And who knows, maybe there are mermaids and mermen living in the depths of the ocean, having their own cities and states. Maybe they've seen the Titanic and decided to hide this secret from people. After all, only legends know the real depth of the Ding Dong Trench. But if you want to learn more about this place, watch the next video.